Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. I'm your host, Zach. Today's episode, we have got Mr. Chris Salisbury with New Doors and Space. And you guys are out of, is it Philly or New Jersey?
New Jersey, about 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia, West Berlin, New Jersey.
West Berlin. All right. Well, what's going on, Chris? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? This is quite the endeavor that you took on. Yeah.
It's been a fun one thus far. I mean, it's different, but it is a lot more freedom and a lot less stress. I'll say that much.
I can't say I have the same over here, but it's great to hear that you're at least getting that. So
I just get to hang out and shoot the shit with a bunch of people. So I mean, it's hard to complain about that one.
That's everyone's goal. I feel like I thought the same thing so many times when I started something, and then I just get so crazy into it, and then it's the last thing that winds up happening.
Yeah, it usually is. So you and I met for the first time. Was that Vegas, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah, I think it was. It was Vegas for the, man, I always get these two confused. What is it, IWF or AWFS? There we go.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome show. I always like going to that. Are you going to go to Atlanta this year?
Yeah, so we're going to Atlanta. We're actually, so we're going to be speaking at a few booths. I know we're definitely going to be at Endoro's booth. Me and Dan will both be there for, I think, 2 days that we're going to do, we'll be there for an hour, 2 hours, something like that. Still don't know what the topic will be yet, but something that we hope we can help other people grow, obviously, as our plan is with everything. So, yeah.
Well, that'll be awesome. I think I'm going to go up. I'm going to fly out Wednesday and be there most of the day Wednesday, Thursday, and then fly back Friday afternoon because, it ends at like 2 or whatever on Friday.
Yeah, those shows, man, are exhausting. I never had to host that one, but I feel for you guys from the last time. I'm like, man, having to talk to that many people all day.
Nonstop. I mean, it's an ass kicking. I mean, you go in, most of the people fly in on Sunday because you have to set your booth up and then open to close for like 5 days. I mean, it's just, by the time you're done with that, you're like, all right, I need a vacation and I'm turning my phone off. I don't want to talk to anybody for at least 30 days.
Yeah, dude, the amount of conversation that you have to have, like you probably talk to how many hundreds of people, like every single time. Hey, how are you? I'm Zach. And now you got to hear about over and over and over.
You almost kind of go on repeat after a while and then you catch yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait, this is a different guy.
I can see that. I definitely, done my fair share of like smaller ones, but never a big one like that. So,
have you been to the Atlanta show yet?
No, I've never been to it.
You're in for a treat.
That's what everyone keeps saying. Yeah, that it's takes forever to go through, and they have like literally everything. So,
all the booths are, massive, and the way I explain it to people is you could probably maybe 2.5 of the Vegas show you could fit inside the Atlanta show. Just everyone from a lot of people from Europe come over, a lot of people from, across the pond come over for the one in Atlanta. It's more, I would call it more international than Vegas is pretty domestic in the US, but then when you go to Atlanta, you've got all the European guys, UK equipment and everything. They all just bring everything out. It's a lot of fun though. I'm excited to go this year to not be, I'm going to go hang out with the guys, a bunch of guys that I know, but not having to work a booth. Just get to go shoot the shit on the other side.
Yeah, no, it's, dude, just the walking. It's like all the places you want to see, and there's never enough time because you want to just look at everything.
My first time going, I love wearing cowboy boots. That's just like my go-to. My first year going to Atlanta, I wore my cowboy boots, and man, I paid the price. Like, Oh, my feet were hurting so bad. You do not wear boots to that. You can do it in Vegas. You cannot do it in Atlanta. There's
Oh, I believe that. Yeah, I wore boots to the last one that I was at when we went to Vegas. I had boots on, and yeah, it was my feet were killing me afterwards. That's for sure. They're not steel toe hiking boots are not a thing. So
no, no. I was wearing cowboy boots with that little bit of a heel in them. Oh man, it was.
yeah, you looked cool though.
Hey, I mean, you like say sometimes you gotta pay the price. You gotta look good, right? I know a lot of people have always asked, and you and I've talked about it a little bit, but just kind of share your story, how you got into the painting industry. I know you said you started at a young age, and how that morphed over into New Doors.
Yeah, so when I was around 16 or so, I started the painting company, painting houses, completely unintentional. I was landscaping at the time with my uncle, and for some reason, I still to this day have no idea why, but my mom's boyfriend thought that I would like wanted to paint houses, and the opportunity came up. I'm like, I've painted a room before, why not? As a kid, I'm still only 16, but I did the job. I made more money in that one job than I did, digging holes. So literally in that instant, I took the money that I made from that job, which was like $80 profit. I bought magnets at Stables that you can make yourself at the time, stuck them to my Toyota Tercel that was like 5 different colors, and put an ad in the paper and started the painting company. And that's literally how it happened. And I had a painting. It was Dan was at the same point doing this with me, and we actually had crews while we were in high school painting houses. And that's kind of how I got started. That is how I got started into painting and this type of industry of all the things that it's kind of led down after that.
So you and Dan have been friends for a while.
Yeah, I asked him when I got this opportunity, I asked him to help me paint the person's house because Dan was an artist of sorts. He would draw stuff. I'm like, oh, he has to know how to paint. And yeah, that is we've been working together since we were 16 or 17 years old, and we're friends prior to that since we were like 10. So.
That's awesome to be able to have a friendship like that. I didn't know you guys would go back that far. That's pretty awesome. I had a friend in high school or 4th grade. His name was Zach. So of course we had to be best friends. I mean, we're still best friends to this day, but I mean, that's props. I couldn't start a business with him. I think I'd probably kill him. So that's props to be able to have a business together.
Yeah, I don't think definitely at the time it wasn't that we were necessarily starting a business doing it. But again, where we shoveled in driveways when we were kids, and it was just that, oh, there's an opportunity to make money. This worked, and it was like, oh, okay, you could keep growing this, and that's kind of what we did. And then as we got older, graduate and whatnot, he went a different way for a little bit, and then we met back up again with New Doors where it is now. But we're doing a ton of stuff in between there, kind of getting it to where it is now.
So how long did you guys have the painting company together?
So truthfully, man, I had that painting company probably a few years, but I was 16. Started to learn stuff, man. I was building, failing stuff like left and right. I had the painting company, so that got me a few bucks, and then I wound up buying. I owned a car wash, I had a restaurant, all that I was kind of financing off of, the painting business that I was kind of, I didn't really understand how to run a business. I was just like, I knew how to hustle, and I hustled those other things into these other businesses, but nothing ever really kind of caught traction, but I was learning how to fail and how to understand what an opportunity is and how to take advantage of it. And probably when I was in about 8 years ago, actually, I was living on a couch. So I sold everything. I was like, man, this isn't for me. I don't want to do it anymore. Sold the couch, moved to Brooklyn, lived inside what was then my shop, which was a 10 by 10 first floor rat infested room. And I lived in there. I showered at the gym and was just like, dude, I'm not doing this, and was trying to go whatever route. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And my painting came back because a friend of mine called me up and said, hey, my boss needs the hallways painted at my building. Would you come and do it? So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm living on a couch, a few bucks. I start doing it. I call Dan again. He's doing something else at this point and say, yo, you want to help me with this? As we're painting the hallways, that I keep hearing them complain that the cleaning company is doing a bad job. So I offered them, I said, hey, let me bid on the cleaning. She said I was crazy. There's no way. I'm like, dude, give me till Monday. I bid on it. I actually won the contract and formed a corporation right then and won the contract for BuzzFeed doing their corporate office that was 120,000 square feet, I think.
That's an impressive one. I mean, you hit on it earlier. One of the most important lessons that entrepreneurs can learn is you got to learn how to fail. You got to do it with grace, and you got to not give up. If you learn how to fail, I mean, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, truthfully, man, it's the only way that you learn how to do anything. And if you don't fail and feel what failing feels like, that's what separates, in my opinion, the people that now get up from that point and just try it again and try it again, and, that's kind of where, and also again, as you do that, as I felt when I did, and when I got this opportunity with BuzzFeed was, again, having an opportunity and knowing what to do with it, which you only know by failing.
So how long did you guys clean the offices for? Or do you still have that company?
Yeah. So Space started as that. And it was, the motto of it was let us into yours. So it did keep growing. We were catering to the commercial market and wound up doing, tons of offices. But what it wound up doing, our motto with the cleaning company was, let's use our experience with construction we were a handyman and cleaning company, and we would use the cleaners to actually spot problems in the facility that would lead to, like, say, a cracked tile or something. These buildings, there's thousands of people every day, so stuff gets broken repeatedly. They don't want lawsuits. So our cleaners would actually spot, oh, hey, this looks like it's broken. And we wound up building a really good sized handyman company with that. And through the handyman stuff, they started asking for more custom stuff. Hey, I need this to fit here. I need this to fit there. Can you make it? So I'm like, hey, we got our little shop that I'm living in. We could start doing that. And so that kept kind of building the construction stuff. And we were getting into more and more tech companies. And what they started to need, we started getting people out of pinches of all sorts of things. And it led us into event work. So the same things you were discussing about the woodworking shows, we started to get hired by companies that wanted one-of-a-kind things, but you needed construction experience to really kind of get what they would do, and we would build them. So we were doing stuff for Spotify, Samsung, The Baby, Astroworld, all those sets we started building, and then the pandemic happened. So in 2020, all this great business that we have of commercial cleaning, there's no offices in Manhattan. They're like, no shot in hell you're coming in here. And all the event stuff, there's no events. So at that time, we're like, man, we have all this equipment. What can we do with it? So instantly we invested in acrylic, and push the hell out of, those COVID barriers everyone was making. And because we bought so much of it in the area, we were the only one with it. We went after big franchises and got like Rita's Italian Ice and other big corporations. We were doing all their plastic now. And that got us into the door again, generating money. But we saw, wow, there really is money in the manufacturing. If you could take out the part of the customization that you have to do as the contractor, and through that, we're like, okay, something has to be, we didn't quite know what yet, but we wanted to do something that was like leading towards automation. And at that time also, we started the cabinet refinishing company prior to it being a thing. And that company we got it built. It was bringing in $4 million in leads in its first year. We couldn't even do enough jobs with it. But what we kept running into was the cabinet doors. It was like every customer is saying, oh, I'm doing this just because I can't afford to do a new kitchen. It's not really what I want, but I'm just going to get the color I want. So the business grew, but so did the headaches, because that same customer now a year later, it's like, dude, my cabinets are cracking. So at that point we said, man, we scaled the business. It was doing great. We were about to franchise it, and we had to dump the business. We sold it off because we said there's no future in refinishing cabinet doors at scale. You could do it on the face frames, but the doors just doesn't work. And that's when we made new doors.
So what year was that? I'm curious. When you guys decided on new doors?
So it was probably about like 2 years ago when we started like really refining the process. It took about a year to just test out what materials work best. We don't just pick at random stuff and say, oh, that's what we're making the doors out of. The guy doesn't have this, so we'll do it this today. No, this has all been, spec'd over the past almost, it took, again, a year or so, year and a half, just to figure out what to do, how to do it, how to scale it, to get us to the point that we're at today. So
it was interesting. I was talking to, do you know Constantine Udalov? He's up in Vancouver. He has a company called Constanta Group, and he does refinishing. I've known him for a long time, but we kind of got on that conversation of new doors versus refinishing doors, and the negatives, the positives, and everything. And I think 4 years, he said, 4 years he's gave up, like you guys, on refinishing doors because it's such a pain in the ass. And we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to say new doors has just smashed it with that concept in the States. And it's taken, I want to say it probably started about 2 years ago, where the whole model of getting rid of existing doors and just putting new doors, change the style. It's going to be cheaper labor and less paint. And the whole schematic of going with new doors and MDF and converting this weird American, what are we going to call it, negative connotation towards MDF when you're using paint. Because everyone thinks that paint, MDF is crap, but not when used correctly. It's not. But I remember years ago when I had my business, just trying to convince people, when you're doing slab or paint grade, let's go with MDF. You don't need solid maple doors or poplar doors. It's wood. Do something that's manufactured. It's like you don't go find real diamonds to put them on a drill bit to cut stone. You use perfect manufactured diamonds. It's cheaper and they're better.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's true.
Yeah. But it was interesting though, because I was like, man, I want to say 2, maybe 3 years ago, that when that really took off, and now it just seems to be, I mean, exploding. Every time I see somebody on social media, it's more and more, ordering doors, and just getting rid of the old ones, because it's just the hassle of those 5-piece doors is just not worth it, especially with the paint trend.
Yeah, and even with that, like, I think what a lot of people are also starting to see contractor facing is, labor's hard to find. So if you want to, we're seeing a lot of companies that a few years ago were just sitting, the owner sitting in the office. Now that same owner's back in the truck. So, and the labor pool isn't there. So he's saying, man, I got to do more and more by myself. So any smart person is saying, I have to figure out how to make more and work less. Put the pride aside of getting to say that you want to paint it or you want to refinish it. Like, for what? That gets you as a hobbyist. If you want to keep doing something and build a business around something, you need some scalability. Otherwise, you will just be working and working for the rest of your life. So I think maybe more people are seeing that and saying, wow, this is a different way.
I used to always talk to, my rule of thumb, and I help mentor a couple guys now and coach them on scaling. But it's interesting when you talk to these guys, like, no, I don't want to hire anyone. I want to do it myself and I can control everything and I just can't make any money. And I'm like, no, you're never going to make 50 to 70,000 working by yourself. That's on a good year. You'll never clear six figures. It's impossible working by yourself because there's only so many hours in a day. Like, you want to scale a business, you got to have systems and you got to have people. Like, you cannot work 24/7 and it's just impossible. You'll kill yourself. But you have to hire people. And I think that's the hardest thing for painters in particular to give up is that control. Like, you've got to create the processes and you've got to put people in the position to do the work for you if you want to scale of any sort in the painting world.
Well, that's scaling any sort in any world. Truthfully, what a few years back, so we had a bagel store we were trying to franchise too, and there was about 20 something locations under the name, and I got referred to this guy that changed my life understanding this. So he actually franchised and did, I think, like 600 locations of a bagel store. So I'm like, yeah, and an old timer guy, in his 70s. And the amount of information that guy showed me, it's the basics of everything. But when you see how there's a picture, so he, with the bagels, I'll say, for instance, it was, we had pictures of how to make a bacon, egg, and cheese. And it was in what order we wanted it. I want the bottom of the bagel. I want an egg. Then I want cheese. Then I want a shake of pepper. Then I want, one squeeze of ketchup, whatever it is. And everything has to be images that are quick to instantly explain what you're doing with the steps within them. And obviously minimal text. And seeing that, I was like, there's no way. Like, you need this for someone. Just show them how to do it. But the minute that I started to understand that philosophy, he taught me a million other things outside of that, but just in the step process, like, it's the same thing for us today. That is what I learned from that, and we're manufacturing, and so it's any field that you go into. If you don't have that, there's no way to kind of keep growing it because you're going to have to keep training somebody. And you don't realize it's a sheet of paper away. Seriously.
100%. Yeah. When I went through all those processes with my company, I mean, it got to the point of, a picture, a bin with each grit, a picture, it had a color associated with it. So if it's raw wood, it's this, and you had to have a picture of the raw wood. A picture of the primed wood equals green. That means it's 400 grit. A picture of raw wood equals red, which is 180 or 220 grit. And you had to go in and show pictures. And, we got down to the detail of, you put it on your sander and you make 4 passes, one and back. That's one. You do that 4 times and then you feel it. If it's still rough, you do it 2 more times. And if you have to do any more than that, then you have to get a supervisor. Like, you have to break it down so simple. But if you do it and you spend the time to do that, it's repeatable. You will get the same result. I don't care who is sitting at that table doing the sanding or spraying. You get the exact same result every time. And when you're in the manufacturing, whether it's, manufacturing a finished product like paint or cabinets or doors, you have that repeatable process. That's what people want. That's what keeps them coming back. You can do the same thing over and over again. It's insane how many people just think that you can show them, but until you actually do it and see how it works, it's hard to explain to someone how beneficial something writing out every single step is. It's annoying, and you're modifying it 5 times to make sure everyone understands it. I worked on my SOPs for like 2 years to get them where they were when I sold the company. But once you do it, it's just like you're 75 cruise control.
Yeah, it makes everything so much easier. If you got to hire somebody new, if truthfully, I find myself like looking at these things, how to do stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh fuck, how many clips go on this? You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a picture. It really is. You're like,
you don't have to think about it. You just look. It's there. All right. There's not a whole lot of process. You leave marginal room for error every step along the way.
And that's what the new generation of the workforce is expecting. Because that's what they know with everything. Everything's on the computer. It's on the phone. You know what I mean? Oh, I could just look when I need it, I could look for it. So when they need it, if you don't have what they're looking for, you know what I mean? Now it's going to be a mistake. It's not going to go away. It blows my mind that people think that this labor shortage and the skilled is like a temporary thing. It's never going to get better. It's, who's ever used a computer and said, nah, you know what? I'm going to handwrite all my letters that I send out to everybody. Yeah. It's the same thing with what's going on now. It's just a different object.
Yeah, I was talking to another guy too, and I think it was still Constantine, and we were talking about he started utilizing YouTube, which I never thought about as an excellent tool for private internal links. So they're not posted videos, but he does training videos on YouTube, and he doesn't post them, but he puts QR codes on them, and then the guys have a book. If they ever forget on a spray technique or a pump drain or a pump setup or tip size based on the coating, they have a chart that's QR codes, and they just go scan it with their phone, and they can just get a refresher video if it's like they're spraying clears and they haven't sprayed clears in a while, and they just brain fart on what tip they're supposed to use or what recommended pressure. And I'm like, holy shit, that's genius.
Yeah.
I mean, he's put the time into creating all the videos, and they're private. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I read a book a while back. It was by Tommy Mello. And that he talked about that exact stuff. And that's when we were, pushing the painting franchise, and everything was like that too. We pre-packed, every job got pre-packed by the office for the next day, and they were in bins, and it was exactly how much tape was there, how that should be used on the job. You know what I mean? But what it started to do was eliminate I didn't have enough, or, stuff getting stolen, using too much. And then when something went wrong, videos for everything, how to pull out a tarp, how to shake off a tarp in front of someone's house. Like, I don't want you doing that. You gotta, but they got to look for it somewhere and, find the information. So no, it's a good, videos on everything, man, and private ones. Yeah.
Yeah, private ones. I never thought of the private one. And I remember when I had my company, it's probably been 8 years ago, I reached out to Nick Slavic about something. I was like, man, how do you the biggest problem I have with the shop is getting the guys to make sure they remember their stuff, make sure they have enough tape, make sure they have enough floor paper, masking paper, caulking to get the job started so you can buy in bulk, or JIT inventory so you're not ordering on every single job. And he sent me this list, and it was basically like it was like a laminated piece of paper. And I was like, dude, I'm totally stealing this from you. And it had a picture of a ladder, said 6-foot step ladder times 2 and this and this. And it was just a whole sheet of everything that you need to have in your van to go do a project. And it was pictures and it told you how many, and it was laminated and just hung on a clip in the back of the van. So every day you got to the shop, you grabbed that and you went through and totes and make sure all that stuff was in there. 2 rolls of this, 6 rolls of this. And I mean, that saved so much time. That saved me so much time. And it's stuff like that you don't even think about it, but God, as the owner, it saves you time.
Yeah. Now you could say, just off of what you just said, you get a new guy. Hey, Joe, can you go pack the truck for tomorrow? What's in it? There's a clipboard. Just make sure everything on the clipboard has been done. Just like that.
Could be your first day. And if you can't see a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty awesome.
That's what it is. And it's so simple, but no one, it took me, 8 years to print that first sheet of paper. So I get it. I
can't say I was much sooner. So
yeah.
And then you guys are taking it a step further on the manufacturing side, which I always thought was genius because you've got a ton of companies out there that are producing cabinet doors. Online cabinet companies will make Fitzgerald and those large craft made, they'll sell doors, but none of them go the extra step that you guys do with new doors, talking about priming, offering primed, and then even offering finished doors and selling the painter the finish paint to go do the boxes with. So like, genius. What made you guys decide, hey, like where was that instinct to say, hey, let's stick a flat line in here and let's sell primed and then let's sell finished? Because that's to the next level on the manufacturing side.
Yeah. So again, we truthfully came at this with saying that we saw how big the market was with refinishing. And I really wanted to, I've been learning this, again, like we just discussed with how to do something in a system and this, that, for years. And I'm like, dude, I see these guys doing this, other painters doing these other things. We have a solution for it if they'll just listen. But we knew with that, that's, yeah, of course, if everyone listens. But when they do, and if they do, that's where we wanted to have the solution to say, hey, we can do whatever your business wants to do. We know at scale, a company's going to want painted doors and they're going to want to just paint the boxes. That's going to be a company that really wants to get big. But there's the guys that are smaller or just can't do that yet, and they want to paint the doors. So we wanted to give them the perfect, suitable base to do that. That wasn't going to cause all the problems that we were dealing with when we were making and refinishing doors that were 5-piece. So, and we wanted to hit the homeowner side. We were also seeing, everyone thinks that, even looking at us from the outside, oh, you sell to homeowners and contractors. There's got to be some conflict. Well, there's stats that say that it's almost like a 51% of people that were looking to do their renovation, they were going to be DIYing it themselves. Their intention was never to even consider a contractor. So, of course, I want to cater to those people and say, hey, we have a solution for you too. And that's where everything kind of came full circle with the paint, with the supplies, and trying to put it together and give the small businesses the opportunity to scale their company too. You didn't have to buy 500 doors. You could buy one.
I mean, I used to do fill-in work and everyone used to call me crazy because it kind of similar on the same thing that I would offer painters, I have average door size and it'd be like $50 a door and you give me the paint and I'll spray all your doors, 1 primer or 2 primer and 1 finish in 3 days. And it was a decent amount of fill-in business. And then it got to the homeowners that I would do their doors for them, for the DIY guys. And you're right. Like, I never really looked at the statistics of it, but I mean, from homeowners to contractors, it was probably 3-to-1. There was always 2 to 3 sets of kitchens in the shop from homeowners that wanted to do their own boxes or save money, but they didn't want to do the doors themselves, whether it was refinish or new. I mean, it was constant. And everyone always was like, I can't believe you're going to paint for other people. And I'm like, I'm here to make money. I don't care where they come from.
Yeah, no, and we were doing a similar thing at our old shop, and what we just kept running into is, man, every time we stray from consistency, there's a problem. So, the doors, it was the same thing. It goes, okay, the primer works on this door, but not this one. This guy did this good enough, but not that one. So that's where, we've been really beating down the no, it has to be this way. It goes this way. It's made out of this, so that we know every single time that it's always going to be, perfect and consistent, because that was always the variable. You want to try to limit as many of those as possible. So
that's smart. I just wish you'd have been around when I had my company, but
yeah, different changes now.
Yeah, that are coming out with finishing becoming big, and the ease of use and more products that are out. It kind of, sometimes I'm like, should I start back up? And then I went, no, that's employees. I'm out. No, that was short lived.
What do you think was your biggest thing? The employees, what was the biggest stressor to make you say that you don't want to do that?
To me, employees are the biggest pain in the butt, whether it be turnover. And we didn't have a ton of turnover, but it's always, I had 12 guys, I had guys at the shop, and then I had guys doing on-site work. So I always say, if it wasn't for employees and customers, owning your own business would be awesome. And the jobs, the bidding's not that big of a deal, but the turnover, the employees, they're saying, hey, I need this, I need that, I need, can't come to work today. And then you're short on a job, and then you're shuffling guys around. I did it for 12 years, and it's just one of those deals where I'm like, man, I'd rather take what I learned over the last 12 years and help people not to have to deal with that, how to overcome that, versus starting that back over again. That part. And then, like you said earlier, you alluded to it, labor pool's not getting any better. And a lot of the guys that were really great at this, all of my lead guys, I had 5 lead guys, and my father-in-law started the business years ago, and then I bought it from him and went from residential painting to custom painting, and then to custom cabinet finishing. But it was my first highest lead guy was 25 years, 15 years, 10 years, 10 years, and 7 years. That loyalty doesn't exist anymore. If you can get someone to stay more than 3 years, but that loyalty, you can't get that loyalty out of W-2 employees anymore. It doesn't exist. That was a whole nother generation. And that was a great generation to have, because you took care of them and they took care of you. Now it's gimme, 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 gimme. And I'm only going to do the bare minimum. And that's one of the things that I struggle with the newer, younger generation. It's not a two-way street anymore. And that's rough when you're trying to do a service-based business.
But you got to understand that's even to what I said earlier. That's where I agree with you 100%. And you got to think of the way that the new generation is learning also is, when I want something, I just look for it or ask for it and I get it. That's really, and that goes to your phone, and it goes to everything that, you're dealing with every single day now. So there is no loyalty at all.
Yeah, there's no loyalty. Having to adapt to that generation and that learning skill is definitely, it's a tough one. Adapt to that type of management style of now. I grew up if you want something, you figure out how to get the money and then you go get it. But until then, you don't.
Yeah, no, I saw it, being in these tech companies as we were growing this business, because I'm with you, that's the same mentality that I had as well. But you see these offices are filled with hundreds and, thousands of people that are that age generation with that mentality. And it's like, oh my God, this is what it's going to be. I really don't know. I don't know what the future of like trade wise is going to be with anything. I think the wisest thing right now is if people could just work together in doing what they're good at, people would make way more money. You still have a good group of people that, again, that guy that is the owner and now is back in the truck. She's looking for, I would imagine, other people like that. Hey man, you could do this, I could do this, like, and it would work much, much smoother. You don't have to, not everyone's a business person and not everyone's a tradesperson.
Mm-hmm. You got to have both 100%. Are you guys seeing anything, being with the people that you work for, and you guys have a pretty far reach across the US? Are you guys seeing any weird or new trends coming up? Are you seeing any stain coming back or any funky colors coming up that you're getting requested? Anything weird? Or
So yeah, we were just on a call the other day actually with the nation's only organization that tracks homeowner data on renovations. So they track everything, dude. When you're searching something and you have your phone open and it's starting to look for how to renovate a kitchen, they're using that data. They know all of it. And stain is about, I think it was 47% or something like that. Paint is in the lead. And they're seeing more people looking for a cost-effective way to get what they want fast. Exactly what we're trying to do, which is great for us. But people aren't looking. They're seeing two categories of people now break out. It's just the super high end and everybody else. So everyone's kind of in this pool now, customer wise. So that's the weird trend, over the past years as I've been building this, there's always been that blue collar, and then you got, three different tiers kind of. It doesn't seem to be doing that. That seems to be that it's splitting away from that, and it has been. So I don't know if that's more detailed than colors. I'm not sure that, but
that's good data for the guys out there to know that you're pretty much two tiers now. You don't need a 3-tier system. You don't need a good, better, best. You just need almost a good and a best.
Yeah, it's just people are looking for people that they can trust, that they look like that the business seems like they can trust it. That's what I see of anything. I'm sure you know the same thing after doing it for, company for 12 years. It's the same basics of business. It's just thinking of it kind of differently, I guess.
That's kind of going into, I don't care how long you've been in business. It's like relationships. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It's all relationship is what you're selling. Whatever the product is a byproduct of that relationship. To me, that's kind of what I always tell my guys. Like, you're not selling paint. You're selling yourself. You're selling a relationship between you and that distributor or you and that OEM. That's the relation. That's what you're selling. And then a byproduct of that relationship is what you're manufacturing over there. Same thing for you guys. It's that's what it is. Trust and relationship. And then the byproduct is what you're making.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the more, lucky for me, I love doing this. This is, all that we want to do and figure out. And so it's we feel we're a great partner in that, just because, yeah, we do love what we do. So you always want that from somebody as well.
Yeah, that comes across definitely. On the business side, have you guys, you guys do awesome at social media. I always love your videos. Like, what strategies have you guys used to position yourself where you're at?
So yeah, so far with social media, that was kind of our main push because again, we wanted to come at it when we first did with the people that we knew, which were the refinishers, and it took a while to get people to see, like you said before, this isn't wood, it's so that was a battle. Um, but I think social media did well for us because we're real. You know what I mean? I'll get in there and spray with you. I'll come stand in the door. I know how to do it. So that worked good with us, I think. And we're very kind of, as you know, just straightforward people. This is what it is. But now we're raising capital and we're going to start pushing this into the brand that it is now. And not that we won't be on social or whatnot, but we're really about to start pushing like, okay, this is the new way. So you'll be seeing a quite bit more of that using agencies and whatnot to.
I was going to say, with what you've done up to this date, have you guys used an agency, or is it pretty much brainchild of you and Dan just farting around at the conference table late at night and say, hey, let's make some videos to get some people on here?
Yeah, so we've spent $0 on advertising. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, it's just been, again, we wanted to really immerse ourselves and understand the customer, understand whether that's a homeowner or a contractor. And that's what we used kind of social media for. Like, hey, again, we are real. I want to know what you're doing and how can I help you? So that's been great for that. And it's drove the sales off of, again, zero in advertising. But we know now, obviously, that also only gets you so far.
Now starts the scalability side. So along with the new doors, I want to hit on real quick. I won't keep you too much longer, but I want the listeners and the community to know about, you've got the new door side. You do pre-finished doors, pre-prime doors, or raw wood doors, but that is also in conjunction with your, I don't want to say physical, but it is a physical, your paint store. Like, you sell finishing products just like a Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams or a box store, any of those. You have that whole side that so kind of talk about that a little bit, how you kind of incorporated that into the manufacturing side.
Yeah, so in building, again, trying to have everything for everybody, we needed to control the distribution so that our big thing with everything that we do is we know what it's like. And when we open the paint store is we know what it's like to be on the job and run out of something. It's the worst thing that could happen. So starting here, we needed to eliminate that. So we use all of this stuff and we said, man, at this point, we could put a store selling all the stuff that we actually use here. And give instant access, like very quick. So out of our location here in South Jersey, we do it's free shipping for the nation, anything over $100, and anyone in like a 300-mile radius gets it next day. So that's really helpful for anyone in the Northeast, that is literally able to run out of something and it's there by the afternoon the next day. But yeah, we're tinting all Enduro products, primer. We have surf prep, Big Kid blocks, Tri-Tech, Apollo, and everything is stocked within the New Doors facility. That company is called United Finishes.
That's awesome. I mean, that's just taken, again, you like, what I love about it, it's like you took, you're inside my head when I think about a business. I feel like you're inside of my head on the value adds. You're like, all right, we're going to make doors, but I want to do it better than everyone else. So I want to prime these doors. Well, shit, we're already priming them. Why don't we offer to paint them? I mean, that's one less thing. That's a faster turn time. He can flip a kitchen in 3 days instead of 7. And then you're like, well, crap, if we're painting them, why don't we go ahead and sell them the paint? Why don't we go ahead and sell them the sandpaper? Why don't we go ahead and sell them the equipment? I mean, the spray rigs, it's just the value adds that are stacked on top of each other for you guys. Like, props, man, you guys are doing awesome.
Thank you.
Just some real forward thinking. I just think that's genius. I mean,
thank you. And yeah, we've been trying to keep the store super competitive with, again, it's not our money maker. It's to make doors easier for you to use with anything from us, and obviously that builds a business within itself.
I think the next thing, I just see your next step, and this is weird. I just see in another year we're going to get on another podcast and be like, oh yeah, we just we're partnering with 5 Star or CertaPro, and we're selling them all their paint and all their cabinets pre-finished for all their remodelings across the country. Because I mean, that's where you guys are headed. You guys are headed to a partnership with the national chain. I can just see it coming.
Yep, that is exactly what we're would be a great thing.
I mean, yeah, I think you guys are headed that direction quickly.
Yeah, thanks. We're hoping so too. That's what we've been working towards. Again, it's how to just give. Again, it's what the people want. So yeah, we're hoping the same thing happens quicker than a year.
There you go. How about on the entrepreneur side, whether it's with skill or on the business side, advice to guys out there, the community out there that's saying, hey, I want to get into the finishing world. I want to get into the remodeling world and start my own business. I mean, you've a lot of ups and downs, a lot of businesses. What advice would you have for those guys out there?
Listen to other people, man. It's that really is the thing. And you are who you surround yourself with. That actually is probably the number one thing that I would say is you are who you surround yourself with, because you'll begin to learn and do other things. But if you hang out with people who are not successful, you will not be successful. And if you want to do something, you have to do it. I try to think every day more and more, since I had a daughter and whatnot, it's, of course, made things, you think about dying and stuff all the time. At least I do. It's scary. And you see how fast it could happen to anybody at any time. And to sit there and think that I didn't try because you were embarrassed or ashamed or didn't want to say something to somebody or didn't want to ask is like so crazy. Ask the question, as long as you, again, are surround yourself with people that you're in that momentum and that thought process, and, ask and do and just keep trying.
I read a book just recently. Oh man, I can't remember the guy's name, Ben something, but it's called Who Not How. And the book kind of goes into, you don't have to know how to do it.
Write that down.
Oh, it's great. It's a lot of times it's better to find a who that can do something that you need done than figuring out how to do it. And it builds, he goes about the 5 freedoms. It builds freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationships. And that particular one, kind of what you were just leaning towards, is there's 2 types of relationships in general, just across the world. It's transformative and transactional. And if you surround your people with yourself with transactional relationships, that's just you give me this and I give you that. It's like a recipe for disaster. You need transformative. You need a relationship with someone that's going to help you grow, and you're going to help them grow. Not I give you something and you give me something. And that was really an eye opener for me. And he talked about one of the best entrepreneur coaches in the world. I can't remember the guy's name, who has this system, but just him talking about, if you're in a transactional relationship, get as far away from it as fast as you can, because it is poison. That's, everyone, you're nothing but an employee to me. That's not the mindset to have. And you want to not surround yourself with those people. So that kind of leads me to a lot of that. You need a transformative relationship. But that book is awesome. Really good.
Yeah, no, I wrote it down to read it. I'm a big into books and always listening to things about, again, how to succeed and whatnot. It's truthfully all I try to listen and do all day.
It's great. He's on Audible, and the one that I'm going on right now is called The Gap in the Game. Same guy, same author, same entrepreneur business coach. They kind of teamed up and wrote it, and it kind of goes into, like, you're taught in school to judge yourself by the gap, like what you have done, what you have left to do, It's the worst way to judge yourself in business and in life. Like, you got to judge yourself by the gain, like where you were and where you are, not where you were and where the finish, like start and finish. Don't start and finish. You're always going to feel like you're never there because you're always pushing that finish line. But if you judge yourself and your success by the gains that you've made daily, it's just an attitude change for the positive versus what I haven't done yet versus, hey man, I got a lot of shit done today. I did this, this, and this. The other stuff, we'll worry about that tomorrow. And then that's been a really good book for me. Yeah. And then before you know it, because as humans, we always change the goalpost. I mean, just human nature is we're always moving the goalpost on ourselves because we want more and more. So if you keep always judging the gap of what you have to do, it feels like you're never done. But if you judge yourself by the gains that you've made each day, it's just like, I mean, I started listening to that book and I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, dude, I sit here probably every week. At the end of the week, we'll sit here, me and Dan, and it's like, oh my God, we didn't do anything. Like nothing got done, nothing, And then you look back on the week and you're like, wait, hold on. We did do this. And it's like, wow, those are things that it took me, it took a lifetime to complete that one thing that happened this week that you don't even realize just what you just went right over your head because you're so, like you said, looking at just that end, like, oh, what am I getting, It's certainly true.
Those two books have been really awesome to me, and I gave them to my wife, and she's Audible. She's listening to them now when she does her evening walks and car rides, and she's just like, "Holy cow!" Like it's stuff that just seems so simple that I think, and they kind of go into the psychology of it. How it's a lot of it's just how you've been trained since you were in school. That's just how we were, and it's like. This coach, he's just like, it's just such the wrong way to look at life and to look at what you're doing.
If you look at, you have a kids, when a kid just tells you exactly what they want, you know what I mean? They tell you when they like something, when they don't like something. Not until you go to school are you sort of told, don't do that, don't say that, you can't ask for that yet. You can't. It's true. Like, why? If you look at your kid, and that's how honestly I try to be with everything. Like, says who? I feel like saying this, or I feel like I want to know this, so I'm going to ask. And it's way easier, honestly, for everybody too. People sit there and in the corner, not wanting to say or do something, and everything happens so much faster when you just say what it is.
There's this quote that I read where this guy was talking to his dad, and he said, if you want something, always ask for it. But you use 3 words, and you'd be blown away at how far those 3 words would get you. Would it be possible? And if you need anything, just put those 3 words. And he did a demo or a story about they were at a hotel, and the kid was like 10, and he was like, would it be possible for us to get an upgrade? And the dad's like, no, son. Like, they've got a lot of people staying here. And the lady just looked at my son and goes, you know what? I think we have a suite. Let me put you in that. Like, just 3 words. Would it be possible? And you're just like, oh, crap.
Dude, so many people are, especially anyone who, not anybody, but it seems to be the most successful people I've met and continue to meet are so willing to help you. Like, because they also think the way that you think and get, they want to ask questions too, and they want to do things, and they're just people. And yeah, half the time, more than half, really almost every time that you ask for something, someone's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, no, I definitely, that's excellent advice.
Yeah, I've been trying to incorporate that in more. Like, would it be possible? And you're just like, just the way it comes across, and you get to ask what you want, but you kind of let that person feel like, what do you want to call it? The hero for giving it to you. Makes them feel better. It's just like, golly, where's this stuff been? I mean, I'm like 42 years old. I needed this stuff 20 years ago.
Hey, you're starting now, so that's at least good.
There you go. So on the tail end of it, one thing I always like to ask everybody, like, what the whole purpose of this podcast is to just bring our community of finishers together, try to bring people into this business. And part of that is just getting to know people. So, like, what's something about you that might surprise people as far as outside of painting? What do you like to do outside of manufacturing, outside of new doors? And what's something that might be people go like, no.
And I'm not sure. I really do this every day. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, and I don't have any hobbies. And it's not a sad way of, I have always been the person. Um, I become obsessed with something, and it's all that I think about, that I do, that I talk to people about, that I research, because I really want to figure it out. And that's just who I am as a person. That makes me happy. And honestly, for the first time in my life, this company and what we've done with it, space as a whole, is giving me the ability to get to make things and sell them to the country. Like, that's what I've always wanted to do. So yeah, nothing too exciting outside of me, from that.
But I mean, you said you've got a daughter.
Yeah, I got a daughter. I have a fiance. Thank you. Yeah, just started my first garden a few weeks ago. Uh, but yeah, that's as fun as it gets.
I mean, I get it. When I had you get laser focused, and that's part of that skill set. I mean, and it shows. I mean, you guys are doing some incredible stuff over there. So props to that laser focus and, being able to provide for your family. That just, it's a whole nother level of satisfaction to be able to, take care of your family and have that success and that laser focus. You're just like, it has to be. I know for me it was rewarding. It's got to feel good.
Oh yeah, dude, it's 100%. And really every day is something new. And as the business keeps growing and growing, it's like I'm getting to do things that I never even thought. Seriously, every year on my birthday, I would write down 100 things in a notebook, of just goals that I want to have. It could be anything. I want to go to the park. I want whatever. And I always wanted to have a manufacturing facility, and I was able to check off so many of these goals that I didn't even realize I set. That being one of them. So it's like, man, I'm getting everything I want, and I get to learn something literally every single day as this company keeps growing. And again, now we're going down the road of investment, and that's a whole nother road in itself. So
yeah, that's another monster. Yeah, I'm sure there's a big learning curve there. Yeah, that's one thing I've always struggled with is in working on investing. Like, one of my goals now is to own an RV resort. That's what I'm working towards right now. And I don't know if you know, but when we moved down here to Waco, we weren't sure how long we were going to be here. So we bought a 45-foot motorhome, like a bus, like a tour bus. So we live in it full time. We've lived in it for about 6-7 months now. So we take a lot of trips, we travel a lot, and we've been to a lot of RV parks and the amenities that they add. And I'm just looking at these things and I'm like, I can do this. Like, I got to figure out how to own a couple of these, and then I can just travel back and forth to the ones I own.
dude, that's definitely capable to do it for sure. I'm sure
But, like on that side of like, I may be picking your brain offline because you get into the investing, because that's where you get into needing to raise capital, find investors, whether it be angel investors or partners. That's the side of a business that I've never done, which I can't even imagine the hurdles that you have to go through when you start looking at capital, raising capital and stuff like that. Because these things aren't inexpensive by any means. I mean, some of these, I think the one we're at right now, the guy told me it cost him $6 million. I mean, $6 million, not counting the land. There's like a water park, restaurants, I mean, huge play areas, airsoft, like paintball facility. I mean, it's like it's your own little vacation on land. I mean, own little cruise ship that doesn't go anywhere. People come and go.
It's a
So
pretty sweet concept, though.
this is a company that has these, and it's a pretty genius concept. I mean, it's swim up bars, restaurants, full bars, serves alcohol, playground, pickleball courts, cabins. It's on a river. You can go kayaking, you can go paddle boarding.
What do you just pay? You could pay weekly or month?
Nightly. People come in nightly. We've been here for 6 months now because it's great for our kids, and you can pay monthly and everything's included. You don't have to pay for electricity or anything, and you get access to all of it. I mean, there's a huge pool with 3 hot tubs that has a swim up bar, and then there's like a water park that has like 3 slides and a whole splash pad for kids. And the concept of this place is genius. And I think it's on maybe 15 acres, and I think they have like 40 cabins and enough spaces for 150 RVs.
That's a good idea. Like, listen, I would live like that. You don't have to deal with any of the stuff that you would at a house.
No. And then, it's like I tell people all the time, like, your neighbors piss you off. You just like slides in, peace out, bitches. We're going somewhere else or move to another spot.
Yeah, it really just drive on the other side, and now you live over there. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I like that the tiny houses, and I never lived in one, but I like the concept of especially what you're saying right now. That's
you lived in a 10 by 10. I would say you've got the tiny house living down.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a very very easy. Could go with a backpack and just be gone for 6 months and not have a concern. My fiance, on the other hand, I'm not sure would feel the same way. So
we keep accumulating a lot of stuff in the bus. I mean, I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything right now. The kids, I mean, my son's 6 and my daughter's 3, and it's like this is like one of the summers that it's the first summer we've done it, and I'm not working full time. I'm just doing the podcast and coaching and content creation. And I mean, this is going to be like a summer that they'll never forget. I mean, as a kid, as a 6-year-old, and my son, they have it's gated entry. So my son's 6, he's got an electric scooter, and he just runs around like he owns the place. I mean, just comes and goes to the park, and just pretty much does whatever he wants. He's like a little adult. He has a little watch that I call him on, or his walkie-talkie. I'm like, hey, bud, lunchtime. He comes home, eats lunch, and then he's gone again.
Oh man, he really is, dude. That is when you feel like you're the shit as a kid. Like, oh, I'm just hanging out riding my scooter, and he's got a little watch now that you can walkie-talkie him. Like,
yep, yeah. He'll be like, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to the pond and go fishing with Jimmy. I'm like, okay, be careful.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a cool setup. That is a good idea, man. You could definitely get people to invest in that, no problem.
I mean, that's my goal, what I'm working towards. But anyways, I'll let you go. I know we went a little longer, but
yeah, no problem.
I mean, Chris, man, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Insights were incredible. Shoot out your socials. I want everyone to get out there, and if they're not following you, make sure they're following you guys. Yeah,
so it's at New Doors, NUDOORS, and that's for social media on Instagram, Facebook, and then my personal Instagram is Chris R. Sals. And anyone feel free to follow me. I'm actually going to myself, I feel like similar to you, I'm in a lot of groups with fundraising and venture capital and all this stuff, and I'm getting asked a lot by people that have tiny businesses, just for kind of what we're kind of going through today. Not that I'm trying to make a thing of it, but I'm like, you know what, maybe I could start just giving out any information I can through my own social media too, to help.
It's like people, that transformative relationship. I mean, it's just sharing information, making connections, and who knows when that'll come back around.
Yeah. And man, you don't realize how many people are looking for what you have. So
yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, everybody go follow Chris, go follow New Doors. Last words of wisdom for our small but awesome painting community.
I forget what the exact quote is, but it's one of my favorite things, and it's by Steve Jobs, and something along the lines that everything that you use was created by somebody no smarter than you. And that's really something that changed my life. Again, the entire quote is incredible to look into. But yeah, that when I realized that, and it's anything you're doing, it's so true. That piece of paper, the pen, everything was made by somebody that someone told was crazy.
That's a good one. I like it. That's good. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the Bearded Podcast. Everybody, thank you for listening. Episodes are coming out every Monday. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on YouTube for the video versions, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, everywhere podcast you can get them. Again, Chris, thank you. Get you and Dan on another episode down the road, and do some follow up and see how things are going.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.